We're now on the new moon in Aries. The exact moment is 10:30 p.m. tonight in the East Coast, which is 7:30 p.m. West Coast time. New moons can be a bit paradoxical in that they represent the period when it can be useful and important to ponder new directions and then begin acting upon them. But the problem is that while they're happening, there tends to be a feeling of low energy, which will, in many cases, serve to diminish the impulse to focus on what one might want to do next. Nevertheless, I think new moons, which happen 12 or 13 times every year, are actually a better way and a better time to set goals and resolutions than the more well-known so-called New Year's resolutions. What you decide to do in late December, early January might stick, and if so, great, of course, but it tends to be at least as common that because those goals are focused a little too far ahead, they often end up on the shelf before spring or even sooner. The lunar cycle, on the other hand, can be really useful because it allows you to work in smaller increments of just under a month. So, being aware of the new moon can be interesting, especially if you track it going forward and check to see what comes to fruition 2 or so weeks later when the next full moon arrives. This one, near the 23rd degree of Aries, is in the natural first sign of the zodiac and is associated with starting things in the broadest possible sense. So I would say it is especially suitable. You can try to fine-tune it by noticing where Aries is in your chart by counting from your rising sign, but you could also just check in with your intuition and ask yourself, what might I start doing right now that could benefit my life in some way over the next month or so? Most of us, our former president accepted of course, have enough wisdom to have a sense about what the next step might be, and taking that step on or around the new moon is a pretty good idea. Sometimes it'll be a pledge to do something, and in other cases to refrain from doing something, which tends to be especially true if Saturn is currently challenging the chart. And I will tell you that not doing is just as powerful as doing. I'll end by saying that should you feel motivated by this message and decide to enthusiastically make a list of targets, that's perfectly fine. But do keep in mind that even a single thing is enough to get the ball rolling, and if you can make progress with that, there's a good chance you'll feel pretty good about it by the full moon and possibly beyond.